What is up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. We're here for our weekend reading. It's a very reflective message and also, pretty straightforward as it pertains to kind of being instructive as to how we go forward victoriously. Shabbat Shalom. I have not kindled the lights of Shabbat quite yet. I just did a bunch of adulting and waited to the last minute to enroll for my healthcare stuff for the year and all of that. So it's finally behind me. So I'm all adulting, so daunting. And I'm happy to say that I'm on night 2 of enjoying my holiday feast. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie The Holiday with Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz and Jude Law and Jack Black. But there's a scene where Cameron Diaz has gone to a small village right outside of London to spend her Christmas holiday. And she's in this village general store and she's everything's so charming for Christmas. And she's grabbing all the cute chocolate truffles and bottles of wine and bread and olives and tapenade and crackers and all the things you want to pick out on and just watch TV. And I found myself manifesting this shopping spree at the store and I started laughing myself mid shop. But I have been just living it up. I also added stuffed grape leaves. Ooh, I had some good cheese, white cheddar with cranberry. Really good when it softens. So enough about good food. Let's get into the reading. So we've pulled from the Radiant Sun Oracle, influence, followed by organization, followed by drama, followed by companionship, and then clarifying all of this, we've got a 6 of Wands underneath our influence. Ooh, no. The cards almost fell behind the couch. That would have been disruptive. Mercury retrograde. Underneath organization, we have the Hanged Man. Ooh, underneath drama, we've got Page of Cups. I feel like Run DMC right now. Or one of the guys from New Kids on the Block. I don't know. But that's what this album is giving right now to me. Either way, these are men that I'm dressed like. Okay, and then companionship. Underneath that, we have Queen of Pentacles. Da-da-da. All right, awesome. So so let's start with influence. So influence here, we have the depiction of Adam and Eve walking through the garden in a state of optimism and nakedness and vulnerability and naivete. There's the beautiful blossoms of the roses around them, but they're not quite aware of the threats of the thorns, nor the cunning ways of the serpent's deception. So this is 7. We are coming out of Hanukkah, the 8 nights of Hanukkah. And so from a Kabbalistic point of view, it's so funny because from an earthly perspective, 7 is usually related to themes of divinity. Well, in a Kabbalistic reference, 7 is related to nature because there's so many 7s and cycles of nature. 7-year cycles, 7 days a week. 7 comes up a lot. So, the 7 and the 7, it's there's this duality to Adam and Eve that they are all human beings. They represent all mankind. And as these divine beings, we are both human and divine. We are both earthly and are prey to our earthly lower base instincts and our affect consciousness. And we also have the potential for to align with our divinity and adopt a state of cause consciousness and choose our sovereignty and free will. It's the serpent here that tricks us into forfeiting our free will and acting reactively, out of turn, out of good timing, right? Out of temptation, out of a triggered response, so to speak. So over the last 8 days, there has been this like open portal that has that has lifted the veil that usually separates us from this connection to the direct light of the divine creator. And so over during Hanukkah, the holiday happens because the veil is lifted and we have a special connection to a quality of the light of the creator that's not available throughout the rest of the year, because it would just be too much. We'd be burned out. It would be overloaded, right? So every year for these 8 days, we can connect to this special quality of the light of the creator that is like the pure total fulfillment of all. So the specific light that we're connecting to is called the Or HaGanuz. And this was the light that radiated in the beginning, in the first 36 hours of creation before the fall of Adam and Eve. Now, the thing is that the sin of Adam was not the biting of the apple. That's not what caused the fall. The fall was caused by lack of affinity with the light of the creator, which was resulted after Adam and Eve, mankind, made a perceived mistake and then felt guilt and shame. The guilt and shame caused us to lack affinity with the light of the creator. We can make a choice, that is not falling out of affinity with the creator, but having shame and guilt and feeling unworthy, that does not have affinity with the creator anymore. So having laid that groundwork, we just went through this 8-day period where we could connect. If we consciously tried, we could connect with the light of God, and our soul was brighter and more positive and was more available to us to reveal our potential fulfillment and all of that, our soul purpose, right? We kind of tapped into that over those 8 days. Now, if we connected that with an effort to overcome our ego or to try to take steps towards choosing forgiveness, if we tried to overcome any of our lower nature, that opened us up to connect with like the magic of the light of miracles that will then help us resolve the challenges within, and that will in turn help resolve the challenges without. So we talked about this during Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and I use this visual of like the light behind me in my lamp. But pretend like all of this light of the creator is gathered up over you, and you are this vessel and you're ready to receive all this light that's about to pour in. And so the more you overcome your selfish nature, the more you overcome your lazy nature, the more you overcome your fearful nature. If you need to practice courage, right? So you practice these things, you take these steps, you do these actions, you face these fears, you overcome grudges, right? You foster a sense of unity, right? And the light just starts spilling in and filling you up, and you become this tank, and it's filling your love tank. And so this is the light that perpetuates protection, favor, health, prosperity, vitality, joy, like goodness, good fortune throughout the year. And so the light gathers up here, right? Well, the opponent, there's like a masculine version of the opponent and a feminine version of the opponent. These two forces, this combined force, hovers around and it tries to trip up the vessel. So we spill out, we close off of our openness. We can't connect with the creator anymore, and the light spills out. And so the negative side stills that light, and it is taken over to the scales, and it is taken to the side of the dark, and that creates chaos and judgment for us to live through. So what we need to do is when we have these miracles gathering and this blessing juice like condensing and crystallizing, we need to, almost like a full contact sport, expect the opponent to show up just like probably today, after having connected with the light, being in joy, getting ourselves pumped all week long about how we're gonna, like, we're recircling back to the challenges that we were overcoming in Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Now we're ready for the booby traps, right? We've just done our soul dry cleaning. We're ready to like overcome these things within us. We're ready to be victorious over these parts of our ego, and we're ready to have like a next level kind of year. Because what we've learned is that it's these probably 2 or 3 like specific challenges within that have been plaguing us for a long time that are blocking us from the 3 most precious goals and dreams that we have, that we feel like we're blocked in, or we're not really at our next level. So these are the things that if we can resolve, this will open the door to our next level. Well, all this work that we did for the last 8 days, we're on a roll, we're getting inspired, we're getting like, you know, hey, like I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident, feeling like I could be victorious. 6 of Wands here. 6 of Wands is victory. Victory after the battle. So we are overcoming our opponent now, but the opponent is evolving. They're evolving. So lately we've been really a lot more savvy about recognizing the opponent, right? We see the opponent when we're triggered in our hostility. We see the opponent when we're triggered in our jealousy, in our covetousness, in our laziness, in our fear, in our cowardice. We see the opponent when we are triggered into separation, evil eye, evil tongue. Those are all pretty obvious, right? When we pop off and lose our temper, right? So what the opponent, like we're seeing those moments more obviously now, and we're able to catch ourselves. So the opponent is like, okay, I'll get a little bit more sly. I can't, trip this person up with sorrow and despair anymore. They already can see me coming there. So now, how many people today woke up this morning with just the tiniest little whisper of, what am I doing all this for? I mean, I've got to start thinking of my future. If I don't get the results that I want, am I just investing into nothing? Is this just like a lost cause? Like, this is just irresponsible at this point. Wouldn't it be so much easier? Wouldn't everybody be so happy if I just did something a little bit more palatable, a little bit more straightforward, something with a little bit more of a guarantee? You see, like the people watching this channel, a lot of us, and then like this is not a requirement. You don't have to feel like you don't belong here if this isn't true for you. But a lot of us have some special little thing that we want to create or accomplish or achieve or do, something that makes us a creative. Now, you don't have to be an artist or write songs or paint or make crafts or something like that to be creative. You can be, an entrepreneur and be creative. You can be like what is it called when people are charitable and they figure out ways to help humankind? It's a big word, and it slipped just because it'll probably come back before the end of the video. But like, you know what I mean? You can be creative without being like like the first thing you think of when you think of creative. So we, don't have an obvious route that's laid out for us, right? What we have to do, we have to pave the way ourselves. And so, people around us maybe don't see what we're doing. Maybe they don't get it. Maybe we have a couple of people in our life that get us and like support us and are like excited and get our vision. But more than likely, it's like you're kind of like maybe the oddball in the situation, the tie-dyed sheep, so to speak. I get it. So yeah, there are times where even I am like, I could just toss it all in now and do something easy. I could make pretty art for people to buy. I could make easy, approachable, pretty things for people to consume. I could hang it all up and become a stand-up comic and make comedy sketches and do selfish things that have a much more glamorous, lifestyle involved with, other people coming into it's like not the lonely life of a hermit and a mystic, right? But something about this, there's a purpose for me in this. It's like a driving force. If I wasn't doing this, I would feel like something was horribly off, right? I have no choice. But even still this morning, the voice of the opponent was slipping in ever so subtly with logic, responsible. Oh, your family would be so much closer. Oh, you would be giving your mother so much happiness if you would just quit, right? All these nice things that sound right, sound easy to make you give up, but would you be regretful later? Would you feel like you betrayed yourself? Would you feel like you turned your back on the creator, even on your sole purpose, right? So again, just being even more clever than your opponent. The opponent will up level with you at every step. Think about it like a sport. Think about it on the field of a sport, whether you're playing football or basketball. The goal of the opponent is to prevent you from getting to your goal. And the stronger your opponent is, the better player you become. So right now, we are getting savvy even to those subtle little seductive whispers of, wooden security, stability, something obvious, something guaranteed, be great, something everybody would like you more for, and the palatable. No way. We are overcoming our opponent, because we're also overcoming our inner hangups as well. We're getting closer and closer to seeing the outer evidence of being victorious in our lives. We're getting closer to that up level. And so every time we overcome that opponent within, every time we transcend our ego, every time we recognize the opponent playing tricks on us and we witness our patterns and we witness those temptations, we call it out, we shine a light on it, we take that power away, and we close the gap. We close the spaces that leave room for the opponent to get in and create separation, division, fear, lack, doubt. So continue on. We are on the right track. Do not get discouraged. Do not give up. This is the opponent screaming and kicking and screaming, trying to get us to give up right before we win. Right before the big win is evident. It's like we are coming around the corner to the finish line, but we can't see it yet. We're just exhausted. We're just like, oh my God, I just want to give up. But just one more stretch and we're there and we win. So don't give up. Instead, we're using this moment where we feel like everything's slowed down or stuck. It's like we want everything to go forward and charge forward quickly, but it's like something feels like there's a holdup. And that is a sacred moment between the end of what was and the beginning of what's happening, where we can take this time to recalibrate, rejuvenate, rest, renew, and get our perspective, really shift it so that we can go forward with a new consciousness and into this new up level. So we want to, in order to really overcome these final challenges and put the past behind us and let bygones be bygones, it's like we have to learn to show up with a different way of perceiving the world and our relationships with others, right? If we have difficulties with others, our challenge during Hanukkah was not to pray that those people would change. The challenge was to pray for us to become the kind of people who can meet that relationship, even in its difficulty, with compassion and unconditional love and mercy. It's not to say that we don't have healthy boundaries and that we're just accepting, the things that people are just, throwing at us and projecting on us. But we are trying to understand that, okay, if someone is coming at you and being really overbearing and controlling and manipulative, maybe they're coming at it because they have concern, right? Maybe they're out of control and their consciousness isn't as evolved with yours. And so they're affected. They're coming from it in affect consciousness and they're just trying to help. They're out of control and they're causing toxic damage. Try to just see through that. Try to see the fact that they care. They're trying to help you in their way. It's just not very positive, and it's not very constructive. That will help take the sting out of the resentment, right? And instead help foster moving forward, forgiveness, grace, right? Having grace. So again, this moment of pause to reflect is getting us a moment to get our shit together, to not only review the year and to like start really dreaming in and calling in and crystallizing our vision for the year to come. But it's also like getting organized and preparing ourselves in our minds for when the next time we come up against that kind of relationship dynamic, those familiar patterns that play out. See yourself going into that familiar situation and see it playing out differently. Practice it in your mind. Get organized about how you are going to like show up in these scenarios moving forward, to try to get a new, like with this new perspective, with this new consciousness. What is your battle plan? What is your execution plan to because it's not like we can just burn every bridge in our life. Some people we cannot leave behind. I know, like in this day and age, people get so casual about the way that we have to talk about things. And so yeah, like when you're going into these media platforms where you've got like 1 minute to talk about something, or you're talking about these huge ideas, it's like you can't give a million caveats every time. So that's how things start to get watered down. And I think that this cancel culture, there's like this trickle down effect where now it's like every time I turn on my social media feeds, like someone telling me like, we've got to like let go of all these toxic people in our lives. Well, there's sometimes that we can't do that. Some of the toxic relationship dynamics of the people in our lives are people that we cannot just leave and walk away from. To abandon them would not be to honor them, right? So we have to find a way to come together and be like coexist with our differences, even though we don't see eye to eye. We can find a way to let bygones be bygones. And so this is this moment where not only are we getting kind of organized with our intrinsic plans. Okay, this is emotionally how I want to set myself up. I am not going to allow my emotional triggers to drive me in these decisions and actions. I'm going to be emotionally dispassionate about this, right? We're getting centered and grounded. And at the same time, we are also applying this kind of organizational execution to getting our, like really reflecting on the year that's passed, assessing our present situation, and then like getting our vision, prepared and clear for the year to come, and getting really hype about it. Okay, so another thing that's going to help us get past the challenges of the past is to let go of all the drama. There are things that you might be creating where in a positive way, it might be good to share these creative things in ways that stand out, that are dramatic, that like maybe you're like, maybe you're feeling shy about putting your work out there into the world. So in a positive way, looking at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, it's like when you are going out there to put your creations out into the world, do so boldly, right? This is, what is this? Mercury in Leo. So this is really putting it out there, in a very confident way. You also might find that you have a talent for being on stage or in the spotlight in some way. Maybe your empathy and understanding of things helps you to be a good performer, a good speaker, a good actor even. So this card combination can speak to that in its positive sense, because I feel like there's been a lot of like subplots in our readings for a long time, and I feel like there's been a very strong subplot that there's a group of people that have something creative that they're wanting to launch, and it has to do with something artistic or stylish or something that they can read the temperature of the zeitgeist, and they know it's going to be valuable and well received, and they need to like put it out there, right? So this is about like bold creative expression, like getting it out there. On the other hand, in our private lives, in our intrinsic world, interior world, we need to get over our dramas and grudges with others and come to like an agreement to let bygones be bygones, to live and let live, to agree to disagree, right? To respect each's own individuality and be able to be in unity and let everyone be themselves, even if we don't agree with it, and be ourselves and have integrity. And that way everyone can feel seen and heard, and you can maintain your sensitivity and empathy. It's like, if you've been in controlling, codependent, enmeshed relationships and you're a very empathic, understanding, tender person, that can break down your tenderness if you don't have strong enough boundaries to protect your individualism, because people can project their expectations on you. And then because you don't want to upset, or because you can feel them so acutely, it's like pieces of you just start getting lost in the fray because you start compromising those all the time. And then that creates resentment, and it actually breaks down your empathy, and you start to reserve that in a sense of self-preservation, and it hardens and calcifies. So in order to stay open and tender, it's like sometimes we have to be strong and create boundaries, right? And so that we can avoid the drama that's going on, right? Maybe we're not the perpetuator of it, but it doesn't mean that, you know, we might have people around us that create the dramatic conditions that we're in, and our perception, our mentality, our thinking gets sucked in, right? We may decide, okay, I'm not going to physically participate in this drama, but emotionally we might still be affected by it all, right? So we are learning to really rise above the drama, to let go of grudges, of conflict, try to avoid creating any kind of evil eye or evil tongue that is going to create separation or division, right? If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Try to challenge yourself with like a cleanse like that, right? Because it's going to be very beneficial to foster positive companionship. And the more that we can foster unity and letting go of grudges and forgiveness, this is like the magic sauce that enhances all of our security, stability, fulfillment. It's going to add to it. So this is kind of happening on a metaphysical level, but then it'll start, you know, your outer like life will start flourishing more as well. And it will create more and more of the same. It's like, when you are fulfilled and you feel like stable and secure, and wow, I'm surrounded by like positive, healthy companionship. It just fosters more of the same, right? And so that creates more and more of that abundance and security. There's also an overarching like theme of, I think, feminine healing, where we're healing our divine feminine, right? Healing that ability for it to be safe to feel. For it to be safe to follow our instincts or our intuition, like healing our heart so that we have clarity there, so that we can hear and follow our intuition clearly, and it's not eschewed by sort of intoxicated, inebriated desire, right? So yes, healing the divine feminine within, healing our ability to not be logical, but to be absurd, right? And to choose certainty, even in the face of, I see the logic, but I am transcending the logic, right? I'm not illogical, I'm translogical. And so because you have a clear knowing that you've had divine inspiration, right? You can't just like start making things up and calling it divine inspiration. But, you know, when you have that discernment, you have that faith, that solid faith that won't let you deny it, right? It won't let you give up. It won't let you walk away, right? When the opponent is tempting you and it's saying all these things, it's like, you know, deep down what the truth is, what's real and what isn't. All right. So yes, divine feminine, intrinsic healing within the self. We all have the divine feminine and the divine masculine within. The feminine versus masculine. The feminine is our ability to take divine and creative inspiration and then translate that into acts of giving and sharing and taking action, which is the masculine. Receiving is feminine, doing is masculine. So yes, the feminine is nurturing, caring, emotionally sensitive, like understanding. It's not that the masculine isn't. Masculine is very emotionally understanding, can be, also very nurturing. They're just different sides of it. So this can also relate to healing female relationships and mother relationships, mother wound healing as well. So fostering strong feminine companionship, resolving grudges and upsets and conflicts within our inner circles, our inner communities, is going to, and then allowing that grace and forgiveness is going to open us up to that next level. And just be sure that the opponent is going to come in and try to trip us up, possibly with some very reasonable, logical temptations. So be on the lookout for that. All right, y'all, I am going to call it now. I think that we've said all we need to say, and I'm just gonna chill out and enjoy the rest of this evening. Not much of it left. All right, y'all, hope you're good, but not too good. Ciao.